out your chest and be a little bolder. All we do is we buy and hold. There will be shills who wanna steal your thrills. There will be friends who hold till the end. There will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedges are dead. Panic and fear really are near, but it's not ours to own. We have shown that all we do is buy and hold. Oh, there will be shills who wanna steal your thrills, and there will be friends who hold till the end, and there will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedges are dead. So when the night's getting colder and you're needing that shoulder, these apes got your back, we got each other. All we do is we buy and hold.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery.
Go for launch, GC. Go. Got it. Go. Fido. Go. Bravo. Go. GC. Go. Max. Go. Eagle. Go. Eco. Go. FAO. Go. Payloads. Go. Scan for the customer. Go. DPS. We're go. Eco. Go. Booster. Go. Surgeon. Go. PRS. Go. Okay. And let's see. We'll wait on GNC.
T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start.
STO, hear you loud and clear. 5 mics. Tell me. Have you loud and clear as well? Thank you, sir.
Go for auto sequence start.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
You have a good forward leg now on S10.
Okay, you sound good.
Discovery Houston, negative return. Copy, negative return.
Good morning, you filthy apes. Welcome to AMC with KC, where we buy, we hold, and we screw those edgies. Screw 'em! That's right. This is where we like to fling poo and eat crayons for breakfast. Rock strong. Good morning, guys. The title for the day today is Congrats to 1Timer for winning the third Buy and Hold'em tournament. He did an amazing job. He didn't just win just the tournament, though. He won the third quarterly Buy and Hold'em poker tournament. He won the entire tournament, but he also was first place at the end. We had 3 rounds of playing where people moved from table to table. And he won his table each time on each one of the rounds. So he was not just the leader overall, but he was the leader on his table each time during each round. Which was, I mean, I don't think that's happened. I don't think that's ever happened before in the history of the 3 poker tournaments that we've had so far.
The tournament consisted of 21 players with the final 7 in the order of 1st to 7th. 1Timer, myself, Nails, Real Rugged, Hodor, Maze Blue 2, and Living in 3D was the final table. Table round winners for round 1 were Nails, Real Rugged, and 1Timer. Round 2 were Hodor and 1Timer. And obviously the grand champion, 1Timer, for the third and final round. Congratulations to all the people who came and played on Saturday. We truly had a great time, and it was definitely a battle of the minds. And we had a good time. And there was lots of new things to talk about too, which you'll see eventually. You'll find out we discovered some new words that we didn't know we could put together. So hopefully that'll come up later on down the road here. Twisty Swifty says Beetlejuice was funny as hell. It sounds like you had a good time at it. That's awesome. I have a massive presentation to show or share with you guys this morning, and I kind of posted it up over the weekend. And I need to. I feel like I should go through numbers first. I want to go through numbers and then get to that, because what I'll do is I'll head over to the back of the Big Tramp, and anybody who wants to come in and ask questions can ask questions as I'm presenting. That way, if there's questions in the middle of where I'm discussing what's on the chart and everything, then people can ask the questions during that period of time. But it's a really good presentation. I think there's everything kind of boils down to the Japan carry trade and being able to reverse engineer everything that DFV did prior to that on one chart, and showing you how things developed the way that they did, and that it was by design and it wasn't just pure accident that everything happened the way that it did. So we'll cover that here in just a little bit, and but I'm gonna go through numbers first. So, having said that, I guess I should get my glasses clean, because I don't have those on yet here. So I'm gonna take you guys over to the other page. Remember, I'm not going to be able to see what it is you guys are saying, so hold those personal thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns until you see the Big Tramp back up on the screen again. Two-factor authentication. If you don't have it, you may want to consider getting it, as it could prevent somebody from getting into your account that shouldn't be in there. If you sign up for that and your broker allows you to put in a secondary device to be able to receive that access code, it's not a bad idea. If something happens to your primary device, you'll have a backup. This is all about protecting yourself. Having said protecting yourself, another really important thing you could do for yourself is to make sure that you have copies of your portfolio, a statement of your portfolio from your broker or brokers, so that you know what it is that you hold, because there may be a time where you may not be able to access that in the future, and you're going to need to be able to have that information. So it's really, really, really important that you have that at some point in time before the future. So like right now would be a great time if you don't have that done. That's it. Let's do these numbers. Oh yeah, nice and clean glasses. We are ready to go. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Price prediction tally points. Actually, we have I need to share this with you guys first before we do. This is part of numbers here. But I've got a new little breakdown sheet here at the end of every week. What this does is this helps to determine if there is a tiebreaker to be had. The new tiebreaker point goes to the person who has the lowest final score at the end of the week. And the score is based off of each day predictions and how much a person's off by. These are the results from last week right here, all built up on one page here so you can see what they look like. But you can see that for the week, I was the grand champion in terms of best price predictions as an average. Not as an average, but as a whole throughout the week. I was 74 cents off after 4 days. But I didn't win. Nana was the big winner. And part of the reason why Nana was the big winner right there was because of this day right here, Wednesday. You can see here that she was off by 0. She had the single point, extra point for getting the price prediction smack dab on the money. So Nana is going to be the winner for the week. There will be no need for a tiebreaker. So let's add everybody's points up. Congratulations to Nana. She was sweating it though. She was sweating it. Why was she sweating it? Because she was 2 pennies away. No, 3 pennies. She was 3 pennies away from not getting a point at all on Friday. And man, she was sweating it. She was like, no, that's like she said for the very first time ever, she didn't want the price to go up any higher. She was 2 pennies. 2 pennies away from not getting any price point for Friday, and that would have enacted the because she would have had been tied at that point going into Friday, or at the end of Friday, and then the extra bonus point would have gone into effect. It was close. Short exempt volume. What do we have for total volume on Friday? We had 12.9 million shares traded. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Hold on a second here. Let me refresh this one more time. I don't feel like that's right. That is right. We had 12.9 million shares traded on Friday last week. So we had a big, huge jump up. At the beginning portion of the day, we were looking like we're going to have a really low volume traded day, similar to Thursday and Wednesday, and we ended up getting 12.9. And I'm sure this is going to get revised up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks 13 when it does get revised. But 12.9 is how much it was. And as a result, we ended up having 180,000 shares in short exempt volume. So more than double day over day on that short exempt volume. We were up 5.29% on Friday on a day where the rest of the market looked like absolute poo-poo. And so it was a nice little run there, and it was unexpected for sure. I know a lot of price predictors. In fact, let me look real quick here and see. Yes, most of us were off by quite a bit. Tech was actually the closest price predictor on Friday. He was off by 13 pennies. He was really close to getting an extra bonus point. Had he gotten an extra bonus point, then we would have gone into that tiebreaker situation. But Nana still would have won out on that in that particular case. But man, he was close. Let's see, utilization coming in this morning at 39.24%. So just a little bit up from where it was last week on Friday. Max Payne. I updated these numbers last night, but I don't know if these are current or not. 9/13. They are current. Okay, so these numbers should be current. So what you see is what you get. $5 is going to be Max Payne for AMC for this week. We were only 2 pennies off from that when we closed Friday. We're about 6 pennies off from that now. But $5 is Max Payne for this week on AMC. And let me just refresh this real quick on GME to make sure. $22 is Max Payne for GME. And they closed at $23.92. So they're almost $2 full higher than that. They have come down a little bit in pre-market, about 6 pennies. Is that right? Looks like they may have come down about 6 pennies in the pre-market this morning so far. Or no, I'm sorry. They're up 0.46. My bad. 0.46%. They're up 13 pennies in the pre-market so far. All right, moving on. Volume and the exchanges that they traded through on AMC. Normally, by the end of a normal day, I would expect to see about 64% going through off-exchange and EDGX combined. We had 54.35% going through off exchange, EGX 8.14 for grand total 62.49% of our volume going through those exchanges, which is about 1.51% less than what I would normally expect to see, which means that some of our price improvement came from less volume hitting the off exchanges. I don't know if I would say all 5% of it, but probably a good portion of it. CHX volume was 3,818 shares, nothing unusual on that. GME saw a massive spike on CHX volume, and what I've mentioned to you guys on several occasions is that when I see that happening, that typically means that somebody's returning shares. And we had about 49,418 shares go through there, which is about 20,000 more than what would get me normally excited about 30,000. 30,000 is a lot. 50,000, that's a lot more. So quite a few shares being returned on Friday on GME. We'll take a look at the borrowable amount of shares from last Friday. When the market closed on the 6th at 20:45, there was about 1 million shares available to be borrowed. Since then, there's been at least a million shares borrowed. 1 million shares borrowed. Some of it returned, some of it borrowed, but 1 million shares has been borrowed since then. Fees are at 0.32, rebates 5.01. On AMC, since 20:45 on the 6th, we have had, let's see here, 50, 250, we've had 250,000 shares borrowed so far from IBKR, or IBKR is reporting 250,000 shares. And we've had on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I feel like we had about somewhere between 450 and 400 to 450,000 shares borrowed. So we're about half of that right now. Fees are currently at 1.77%, rebates 3.56, and there's currently 1.2 million shares available to borrow. Moving on, institutional ownership this morning. On Friday, for AMC, it was reported at 121.175 million. Today, it is same value, no change. GME's reported amount last Friday was 103.404. Today it is the same value, so no change on those numbers. I'm going to take you guys over the other page here, and we will cover, after I move a couple screens around, we'll cover the rest of the data. I'm not gonna. I know I was showing that other page before where I was discussing, like, you know, how the Nikkei was doing in contrast to some other things. I'm not going to be pulling that up today. I don't think so, because at least not today, because I've got another chart that I may want to show you, and I'm having to use that. I'm having to use that chart, and I don't want to mess it up until after I've shared with you what I want to share. Alrighty, let's start with options. These numbers shouldn't need to be refreshed because I already refreshed them since I rebooted the computer last night. Let's see what we got going on here. So, highest amount of call options in the money in open interest this morning on AMC is at a $5 strike. That's where it was last week. Last week we had about 20,000 contracts by the end of the week in open interest. This week we have 15.8 thousand contracts at 5. Highest amount of put volume is coming in at a $5 strike. That's 50 cents up from where it was last week. And Last week there was 10.5 thousand contracts at 4.5. There's currently 6,000 contracts at 5. So the market's really targeting, based off this open interest, at $5 close by the end of the week. Taking a look and scrolling down through this week and next week's, actually we'll look out 3 weeks out, but next week, don't forget, next week is the quad witching week. You're going to see a lot more volume in contracts for that week than perhaps maybe any other week that we've had more recently. And then you can see the week after that here has it's pretty low. Not a whole lot of volume over here on September 27th time frame. All right, moving on. GME, the highest amount of call volume closest to the current price. It's $22.50. They're in the money. You can see it. You can see it on the page how it's kind of grayed out there. The 12642 is in the money. The 5816 is in the money. The 3620s are in the money. If we scroll into next week, you'll see how what's in the money over there. There's going to be a lot of call contracts that are going to be in the money as of Friday. If I'm not mistaken, I think the max pain was 22. I think when they closed out last week. Right, so if max pain was 22, they're opening up this week 1, 2, 3, almost 4 strike prices higher. 1, 2, 3, yeah, almost 4. So there's going to be a lot of things that are in the money. They're in the highest, like I said, the highest amount of call volume closest to where they're at right now is at 22.50. The highest amount of put volume closest to where the strike price is at right now is going to be also at $22. So it's not very often that you see price higher than where the call and puts are giving a range for, which means that somebody who's making a market or institutionally is probably taking some pretty steep hits right now, and this is not gonna fare well for their pocketbooks. We'll scroll down through this list here for documentation purposes and just kind of take a look. Do note all the shaded section over here on the calls for next week that are in the money on the calls. Those are for the quad witching week. There should be a lot of volume there. It doesn't look as much as I would expect. Looks like there might have been some call positions that may have closed out. But there are some steep numbers at 25 and 30. And we'll also look at one more week out from there. Holy moly. There's like no volume for the week after the quad witching week. I mean, it is empty. Okay. Let's see here. Ortex. Utilization, day over day, it looks like it jumped up 0.2, less than that, less than 0.2. Went from 39.09 to 39.24. So really, really low move on utilization there. It's hard to say that on loan amount's going to go up on this, but it should be. It is. Okay, it did jump up from 55.19 million shares on loan to 55.82. So 630,000 shares borrowed on Friday. Let me write this down. That's obviously going to increase the estimated short share interest of the free float, which it did from 14.16 to 14.18. But let's see how many shares they're estimating it increased by. They're estimating that went from 47.54 million shares in short interest to 47.63. So we're looking at 90,000 shares, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 90,000 shares in short interest. Not very much. Which means that somebody's probably not really thinking that the price is going to be moving down all that much. Because they didn't really create any short positions to reflect that. Moving on from there, on loan average age per day, when you don't borrow a whole bunch of shares, and you just have a bunch of shares that are aging on you, this should be going up. But it didn't. It went down, which means that they did close out positions. And the new positions helped to drive this value down. So it means that they would have been closing out older positions more than likely to get this to drop. So it dropped from 44.07 to 43.89. That's a pretty big drop. Security lending volume for the day coming in moved down from 7.99 million to 4.31. So most of this volume here of this 4.31 million shares was in older positions that were getting closed out. Somebody was not wanting to stay on the books with where price is moving to. And that's bullish. It's a bullish look. Let's take a look at GME. Utilization. Day-over-day utilization on GME dropping from 28.21 to 27.75. The on-loan amount dipping from 31.69 million shares to 30.89. As a result, that's going to drop the estimated short share interest of the free float from 9.44 to 9.39. And the on-loan average age per day should be rising when you're returning shares. And in this particular case, it was. Rose from 37.49 days to 38.99. Security lending volume slightly decreasing from 2.52 million to 2.37. SSR trigger price for the day today is at $4.48. I do see option contracts showing up on the page here for this week, ending this week. There's currently there's no way this is right. Okay, I just updated it and it's not showing this week's expiration contracts. So because this is 9/20 and that's not this week, that's next week. So, but I can tell you this. I can say there's 253,000 contracts that are out of the money on the calls on AMC for next week, and 23.2 thousand contracts that are in the money for next week. 24.8 thousand contracts are out of the money on puts for next week, while there's 4.1 thousand contracts that are in the money on puts. Let's take a look at GME. SSR trigger price for the day is $21.53. No option contracts showing up on the page, so I can't really show you anything there. Orders by Fidelity customers. GME managed to find its way onto this list at the end of the day due to that unusual volatility that started occurring and the amount of shares that got traded back and forth. By the end of the day, they were the fourth from the bottom on the top 30. So 27th position here with a 59.22% buy to 40.78% sell ratio. I like to see it a bare minimum 60-40 because this is just based off of orders. It's not based off the amount of shares that retail's buying. So you don't really know how big the orders are. But I feel like if you have at least a 60-40 buy-sell ratio on those orders, that you have a really good chance at that point at seeing majority of those of the buying pressure being on the buying side in volume than you do on the selling side in volume. So this is right on the hairy edge of what I like to see of being perfect, at a bare minimum, a good number. So it's 60-40 is the number I want to see. AMC did not make the list. The only reason I'm explaining this is because I feel like it's been a while since we've seen AMC or GME on that list, and so I just wanted to make sure people know what I'm looking for. And as far as the bond yields, we still do not have we have a normalized bond yield. It has not reverted back to an inverted bond yield yet. I say yet because I don't know, maybe it will. So I'm going to give you a negative value on the 2-year from the 10-year when I give it to you. MMRI last week when we finished out the week was 233.64, and that is now up to 236.53, which means there's been some risk on over the weekend. Some risks that were being taken in the market. Let's see what we got here for this value for the 2-year. Negative 0.05. So last week we started out the week with a inverted bond yield at 0.02. By the end of the week, we were in a normalized bond yield at negative 0.05. We're starting off this week at the same value where we left off last week. So no changes on those yields. Since we closed out the week. How is the futures? VIX futures are suggesting that it will be down 2.76, which should mean that we should have an open for green in the market. And we closed out, it's suggesting 1990. We saw the VIX actually leading the futures by 2 points at the end of the week last week, skyrocketing and closing the week out at 2238. The futures are suggesting 1990. So if the VIX were to be leading this by 2 full points again, that would be like a 2191 open on the VIX this morning, and it's at 2238 is what it closed at. So we'll see if it drops down that full 2 points or tries to close the gap between that and the futures. But the futures are suggesting a downwards momentum on the VIX. The Nikkei yesterday. So you guys may have seen me post up a fire, a boom. It was actually, I typed in boom and got that fire little tweet. And I just tweeted out just that. And what it was I was watching the Nikkei when it first opened up. And I want to just kind of express to you guys how crazy this is to see happen overnight. The Nikkei was down 3% yesterday when I posted that. 3%. That's a lot. I mean, just think about the SPY being down 3% in a single day. Everybody would be like, everything's on fire. Well, it wasn't just the Nikkei, though. The Hang Seng was down 3%, and the Nifty 50 was down 3%. When we're waking up to it this morning, only being down 0.24, which is a massive recovery. All things considered, that is a huge, huge recovery. The Hang Seng didn't really recover as well. It recovered about half of that, as down 1.65. And then the Nifty 50 did recover as well and is now up 0.35. So we saw some amazing moves overnight, like when we went to sleep and we're waking up this morning and everything is like turned around going the other directions. So, and you can see here in the U.S. markets, our futures are up on everything, suggesting that we should see things up as much as anywhere from 0.23 to 0.76. We got a 76 in here. So a lot of green showing up right now, and I don't know if that means that somebody's getting margin called again, and that there's going to be a big that could mean that you're going to see an open green, and then you're going to see a big sell-off that happens, which is but is also going to swing back the other direction and have a bunch of buying going on. So what I'm going to suggest to you is I think we're going to see a lot of volatility today. I think it's very possible. Let's see here. What do we got going on for the Mag 7? The Mag 7, not everything is green. Two of them are flat even. So we've got 5 green stocks right now. 6. We just had 6. If Microsoft goes green, we'd have all 7 green. Microsoft is trading even right now. Financial institutions that have changed more than 2.5% since Friday's close will get a shout out. Let me see if there's anything in here. Yep, there is. Douche Stank is up 2.92. And Western Alliance is up 4.17. And that appears to be it. So let's look for some interesting signs here, because I just told you that we watched some extraordinary things happening to international markets overnight. Let's look for some interesting signs. What do we know about metals, and what do we know about the U.S. dollar? They're usually inverse to the market. So if these things are moving up, the chances that we have a continued move up on the market for the day-to-day is probably dropping a little bit. So in this particular case right now, gold is trending upwards. It's down right now 0.02, but it is trending up. Silver up 0.66%. It's overall, I would say it's currently consolidating, but overall on a longer period of time appears to be trending upwards. Ethereum Classic up 0.53, trending down. More consolidation currently happening, but is on a trend down and has not broken that trend yet. And the US dollar up 0.44 and trending up. It's at 101.63. Again, I don't know why we would be seeing the dollar increasing in value and the market going green. Those are not usually what happens. It's unusual. We have oil is green this morning, 1.98%. It hasn't really traded a whole lot. Let's see what's the vol. Actually, it has traded. It's traded a lot. Is this pre-market open? What the heck? They've traded 131,000 in pre-market. There's been a lot of volume in here, and they're up right now 1.98%. So normally oil moves the same direction as the market. So we got just everything going up right now. SPY is up 0.61. You can see the gap up here it had in the pre-market has been consolidating since then. Tesla is up 1.92%. It gapped up and then has been kind of trending down a little bit since. Amazon is up 1.33, gapping up and trending up. Cinemark is down 1.57% in the pre-market after trading one share so far. So not really enough to suggest a trend yet, but it is down 1.57 in the pre-market. Doge is up 0.82. I think we're inside of a really long wedge that I've got drawn out here for Doge, and I do expect this to be breaking. I know you can see the shaded box that I've got there. I am expecting this is an extreme trend downwards. I don't think you typically see this kind of trend downwards here and see a breakout going down. I'm expecting somewhere in this box for Doge to break out going upwards. The time frame on this box that I've got up here is 9/1 to 9/23. 23. So we're in that time range right there, and we're getting very, very close to potentially maybe seeing this break out. Why do I watch Doge? The reason I watch Doge is because it had a massive run prior to AMC taking off in June of 2021. And then as it was starting to come back down from its run up to, gosh, what was it, like 75 cents or something like that? That's when AMC started running. So that's why I watch Doge, because I feel like there might be a little bit of an indicator here showing up. Bitcoin, we have up 0.24 overall. It's trending, consolidating after a little bit of a trend up this morning. On Doge also, this is in a descending parallel channel. It's not very often that you see a breakout underneath the descending parallel channel, but we've already discussed this and stated that this is on a massive cup and handle formation. And the only time I ever see descending parallel channels or ascending parallel channels being broken is in cup and handle situations. So we've got a cup, we've got a handle that's forming here, a breakout going down. Remember, is this red line that I've got set up right here. A breakout on Bitcoin would be to test this line before seeing a rippy rip up to 103.66. I know that's such a big number, but that's what this pattern is suggesting here is that there's going to be a push down to that 45K K range before taking off and seeing some big numbers. This is a very long pattern, and I would almost wager money on this one. There's 11 the time span on the cup itself is from 11/12 of 2021 to 3/16 of 2024. That is a massive cup and handle. Massive. But it's got to get that rip down before it's going to see that rip up. And you want to know what that is? I'll tell you what it is. That rip down is going to be institutions selling off their positions because they're being forced to. And we really want to see that. And why do we want to see that? For the sake of everything that is good about the thesis of what Bitcoin is or cryptocurrencies in general and what they are. You don't want institutions in there messing it up, because that's what they're doing. They're using it as a little tiny piggy bank in order for them to be able to manipulate markets. And when they get squeezed out of their positions, you want to see them have to exit, because you really don't want to see a lot of institutions in there who are manipulating price. And I think that when this does start breaking down initially first, before it starts to rip up, that'll be exactly what it is. It'll be institutions who are selling off their last bits of value that they have stored in crypto. GME is currently down 1.01%, taking some wild swings this morning. It was up a little over 1% just a little bit ago when I was talking with you guys, going through numbers, and but it is down currently 1.01% on 117,000 shares traded so far. Got some volume there. Pre-market on HYMC is up 3.47 after 107 shares having been traded. It's trending up on low volume. NCMI is down NCMI has not yet traded this morning. Hood is up 0.84% and it was trending upwards, gapped up a little bit and is consolidating. And AMC is down 1.2%, and we're going to call it consolidating currently after a little bit of a trend up. What's next? Volume, because we had our pokey stick of volume already. Pokey stick of volume was 50,000 shares. So that's a decent amount. We had 50,000 shares on the pokey stick. Let me just subtract the rest of this volume here. 5, 10, 17. We'll go 18. Yeah, 18,000 shares off of this number here, because I'm a little late getting to the pokey stick. So we're looking at let's just call it a flat 70,000 shares in volume on our pokey sticks this morning. So I'm not going to be able to predict anything better than 5 to 25 million shares traded for the day today, but it is it's more volume than what we've been seeing, which is nice. On a 4-hour time interval, there's currently equal amounts of buying and selling pressure with an RSI of 59.39, which is above average. 1-hour time interval, more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 58.43, which is above average. On a 30-minute time interval, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure with an RSI of 55.48, which is slightly above average. And on a 5-minute time interval, more selling pressure than buying pressure with an RSI of 46.08, which is slightly below average. Taking a look at Ichimoto, what do we got going on Ichimoto? Look at that. She's looking good. This is our breakthrough right here on the cloud last week. Last week I told you 485 was the magic number to see this turn into a buy signal. And we got it. We got more than that. We got 498 for close on Friday. So this is looking like a buy. Obviously, there is green cloud ahead of us, which means that price would want to try to break down through this cloud in the future. To avoid that, price needs to stay above the conversion and the base. We need to keep the lagging line above price line. So we need some more continued buying pressure to see that happen. The value that I'm going to give you for the day today is $5. $5 is what we need to see or better to get more additional buying volume. We got to get this lagging. We got to keep lagging line above price line going into tomorrow, which is right at 498. On a 4-hour time interval, we are lagging line is technically above price line currently, and it should stay there provided we stay above 491. But we're not out of the cloud. We have conversion crossing the base, which is a good thing. We need to see the break above the cloud today, which is at 498. Which is where we closed at, right? I mean, you can see we're just testing right across the top there. They do not want to see this 4-hour being broken upwards because that ends up creating a buy signal. So what's the magic number? $5. The 1-hour chart and the 4-hour chart are in agreement. When that happens, that gives you more of a warm, fuzzy feeling inside about what the future price movement may look like. There's only red cloud ahead on the 4-hour. So let me pull up TTM squeeze real quick here. I just want to see where that's at. Okay, on a 4-hour, TTM squeeze is showing signs of strength still. On a 1-hour, we are starting to see a little bit of signs of weakness, but that doesn't mean that the signs of strength couldn't pop back up. Notice that the vortex indicator has not started. The buying and selling pressure on the vortex indicator have not started trending up towards each other, starting to come together for a divergence. So even though TTM squeeze is saying weakness, RSI says, I guess I still got room to move up. Vortex indicator says I'm still ready to move up. TTM squeeze is the only thing right now that says weakness. 30-minute says weakness. So we're starting to see signs of weakness on the lower time intervals. But we don't see it in the 4-hour. Probably not the daily either. Yep, the daily is showing signs of strength. And with that, that's all I've got for you guys. Volume profile, Bollinger Bands. Let's get it all back up here, and let's do this little presentation here, because I don't really have much more than like 15 minutes to do this. I was a little late getting on. I stayed up real late talking with some of the guys in the back of the Big Tramp last night, so thanks a lot, Rugged. He says he gets paid by the shills to keep me up by the minute. All right, let's get this presentation on real quick here. I know this is not normal presentation time. I can see what it is you guys are saying again. Let's see. Let me pull up this document real quick here, because it'll be... Should I show it to you here, or... Yeah, I'm going to show it here. Let's do this. I've kind of moved this chart a little bit here, but I gotta move it back now so I can present this to you. All right, what do we got going on here? So this is kind of, it's a little messy, but bear with me. You have to kind of build this up a little bit here, and I probably could take away some of the stuff on here to just kind of build the story for you, but I'm just going to show you in one big, huge lump sum to start off with, and we'll see how this presentation goes. But everything starts from here, the Japan carry trade, unwind. Now, initially, DFV gave us his very first emoji tweet on the 15th of May. And if you start your emoji tweet and you walk it all the way out down the road down here, you see that the end of the T+35 trading days ends on July 5th. So there are things along the way here that you can attribute to known events. For example, like this Apple right here has to do with an Apple presentation that they had that was scheduled. Father's Day was the day before this. The first trading day after was Father's Day, and you got two emojis of guys hugging. You have the purple heart here on the day where it's the Army's anniversary of when they were created, and they award purple hearts at that time. And so there's just a lot of different things in here that have specific representations to points in time that he wanted you to understand that each one of these emojis were related to specific days. Now, the game controller in here, GameStop was going to have their initial yearly meeting, I think it was on June 5th. And then they, like just a few days before, they changed it and said that they were going to have it like a couple days later. There was no way DFE would have known that it was going to get changed. But when he did print these emojis out and gave them to us in a meme video, that day was on June 5th. So it was scheduled for that day. But there are other clues in here besides that. Some of these we didn't know what they were. We were trying to figure out like what the heck they were. Some of them didn't really have meaning to us. This peanut butter right here, this peanut is on National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. You know, there are some things in here that make sense, and then there were other things that we couldn't really figure out like what they were references to. Okay, so the Japan carry trade unwind, and you're going like, why do I have a second set of 35 down here? There's an important reason for that, and it's because DFE, he posted up his exercised positions that he created on it was his third cycle, and then I'm calling each one of these set of emojis a cycle. That's a T35 cycle. So his GME exercise position T+1 to start. Remember, we have a T+1, so the emojis don't start on the day that you that you exercise your position. It starts on the day after because it's they have a T+1 settlement cycle. So that's when the emojis start. Now I want you to just realize the impact, and this is I'm probably going to be saying some things here, guys, that are going to give you some chills. I know when I'm speaking about it, I get goosebumps because it's just like, holy shit, you can't make this up. But I want you to just see here that this T35 cycle from his position that he created, he had this position open back here, way back here. He had this position open. He could have made money in this time frame in here, but he didn't. He purposely chose to exit his position on a very specific day. And when you start to see, when you build this together and you understand why he specifically chose the day that he chose, you'll understand that he wasn't in this to make money. This wasn't about making money. This was about making a point, about setting a point in time and saying, I know what's going to happen in the future, and in order for it to happen, I have to do this here. No other time works. And it all centers around his target. He's got a target right here. And that target date isn't just any day. It's actually a very special. I get emotional talking about it. It's like, oh, shoot, man. This is like such a big day for him. His sister passed away. His sister passed away on this day. This is a special day for him. DFE's sister, Caroline, she passed away on June 25th. And if you take this emoji line and you paste up the second emoji line on this, you can see he's got the barfing or sick sign here. His target date is literally on the second, when you line these up correctly, is on a day where the emoji is the sick emoji, right? So all of this was planned. Every single bit of this whole targeting thing, the whole Kansas City shuffle, all of it was planned from the get-go. He knew what he was going to do well in advance when he was doing it back here. And I'll show you how. So remember the target date, though. It's really, really super important. Now, DFV posted up a Schedule 13G on July 1st. The Schedule 13G said that on June 24th, he made a position with Chewy. He claimed 5% ownership of Chewy. T+1 from that date. T+1 on June 24th is the day before the target, meaning his settlement period starts on the target. He entered into his 5% position. He started the Kansas City shuffle The blue line on the page, by the way, guys, that's Chewy's numbers. Now, I don't really know for a fact when he started entering into his position, but I have a feeling I can figure it out. And I'll show you where that is in the emoji cons, in the emojis. So he set this all up, guys. He knew what he was doing well in advance. But we have to go back a little bit further to figure this out. DFE made his second cycle, and I'm telling you, this is the cycle that he decided to expose to us. What he was doing was not his first cycle on GME. It was actually his second cycle. There's another cycle before this, but we don't have to go back to see where that starts from. But it's what caused everything to start running up in May, the first cycle. DFE's second cycle with starting, he had 12 tweets on this day right here. His leaning forward tweet was the day before on May 13th was the beginning of his positions. And it's the first day where the videos started coming through on his Twitter account. The day before that, he put the leaning forward, right? He was telling everybody, I'm making my position. And then that day, you can see he had 12 tweets on that day. T2 to start the disguised emoji. Now remember, T+2 was happening. I don't remember what the exact date is. Hold on one second here. Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. It was May 28th. So when he made his initial position back here, it was T+2 because it was May 13th. May 28th, which is right here, right? T+1 happens. Interesting, because that's exactly when I think he may have made his entry into Chewy, and we'll talk about this here. It's the death punch. But we'll talk about that in just a second. T+2 is back here. So the emojis don't start until 2 days after, because that's when the settlement cycle begins, is after the settlement occurs. So he makes a second position here, lets you know that he's doing that, and then he posts up 12 tweets. 12 days out from this, if you count them forward, is this disguised face. It's the disguised face. The next day, he posts 12 tweets. 12 days later, he has the look emoji. Now, remember those two, the disguised face and the look emoji, because those are important to understanding what's going to happen in the future. Now, this one right here, where the emoji starts, he has 34 tweets that day. Everybody was counting these and wondering what was going on with these tweets. Why was he posting exactly so many tweets every single day? Well, if you subtract the very first day from a T35 settlement cycle, you have 34 days left. 34 days left on the cycle. That's exactly what he's got left here. The next day, he tweets 26 tweets, which he has 26 days left to the target. It's 26 days left to the target from this point in time. That's where it is. It's right there. The very next day, he has 25 tweets. 25 days left to the target. He's letting you know it's a countdown to the target. He told you. When does Chewy's price start running? Right here. Chewy's price really starts rocking right here. He has a punch, a fist. He has a death skull and bones, or it's just a death image, right? Then you've got the disguise, and then you've got the look. Well, the look shows up back here. The look says, oh yeah, position being created. Something's happening, something's going down, it's going on fire. The whole thing about a Kansas City shuffle, guys, is that you have to have a dead body. You have to have a dead body for a Kansas City shuffle. He was creating a dead body, a dead position that somebody was going to have to forcibly cover. And he was going to exit out of that position because it was only meant to be a distraction. Why? He was banking on this. How do you know he was banking on this? Because he told us. He literally told us that he was banking on that moment in time. Let me pull it up here for you. You'll remember this because he showed us in a video and he said, let's make a bet. Let's make a bet. Hold on. Where did it go? Give me 1 second. Here it is. There it is. I'll wager with you. I'll make you a bet. He knew. He knew in advance what was going to happen before it ever even happened. Why? Because he was responsible for this. Do you see this hand right here? Do you see this hand right here? He's telling you. For any of you who've ever played this game before, you have to hold out the hand to say you got somebody because they look at it below the waist. That's how I always played it. You got to hold it below the waist, and if somebody looks at it, you get to punch them. If somebody looks at it, you get to punch them. What is he telling you? He's done. He's telling you, I punched you. I made you look. I made the position, and I punched you. And he's got this posted up on June 18th. He made him look. He's got a target date. He knew it was going to happen before it even happened. He was setting this all up for the Japan carry trade unwind because he knew somebody was going to get stuck there. He knew there was a hedge fund that was living off the Japan carry trade. And if that got disrupted, he knew that everything would come crumbling down. When he says it's a masterpiece, he's not kidding. It's all there. It's all there for you to just unravel and find. You just have to know how to line everything up. You just have to see it. But there's so many people out there right now, guys, that are going to be sitting there trying to convince you that that some other things are going to happen, or that he's there to try and screw people over because he's just a pump and dumper. And it's because those people don't understand. They don't get it. They want to be able to pin somebody who's, they want to make somebody responsible for their decisions that they're making. He's got, this is a much bigger thing for him, guys, than that. It's much, much bigger. It has meaning. And I hope you can see that. I hope you can see that that there's meaning for it in him, in more than just making money. Yeah, see, that's what everybody wants to know, Tyler. The message never changed. It never, ever, ever changed. It never changed. What does it mean to you? Because the message has never changed. It's always been the same. And not only that, not only has the message always been the same, but he's never faltered from what it is that he's been saying that he would do. He's done everything that it is that he said that he would do, or the whole way through the entire thing. He's never faltered. So what are you going to do? The choice is yours. It's not mine to make. Break time. Apex says he's exposing the corruption in the financial markets. He absolutely is. You're damn straight he is. Tom says, because the hedgies and toots screwed people up for decades, he hammered them in a legal way using their system. Damn straight. Damn straight. If he's still in, I'm still in. Rating the movie. He hasn't faltered, guys. Not one time. Not one time. He's literally done everything that it is that he said that he was going to do. His thesis has never changed. It's always been the same thing, man. He believes in the company. He believes in what it is that he's buying and holding. And I got to go to break. I can't believe nobody came into the back of the big tram and asked any questions. It's craziness. It's too late now. It's too late now. I'm backing out. Let me put my message up. It's okay because we'll have another chance, right? Like after market open, I'll cover this stuff one more time. I'll try to be less emotional about it, but man, I tell you what, how can you, like, when you understand, you realize what some of the things are that are in there, like, how can you not be? Oops, I'll be back at 8:15. All right, I will see you guys in a little bit.
Living life on the open road, ain't got no home, just a van for my long beard hanging down, taking AMC, it's all about the line. No ties, no suit and tie, just dark circles round these tired eyes, sipping coffee, crunching numbers, technically analyzing. Windows roll down, the wind in my head, I embrace the grit and grind. There's my castle, lose my kingdom, no place else I wanna be. AMC ticker keeps on rolling, stock charts and patterns unfolding. Fear and greed, bulls and bears, it's a wild ride, I'm all inside. Oh, ticker in my sights, AMC's my fight.
Alrighty guys, I'm back, and I'm telling you what I'm saying right now. It looks to me like we have potentially, so we had a really long period of time here where price was trading within a certain range for a wedge breakout, and this is the box that I had drawn out here for a potential breakout period of time, and it literally was right after my box that it actually broke out of this. And so what I think is forming right now, and it kind of looks like we're trading right back up into that wedge again, which I normally delete these out, but I didn't this time. But it looks to me like we may be creating what appears to be a inverted head and shoulder type pattern. The time frames look like they're pretty darn close. I haven't measured them out to see exactly for sure, but if we are on the other side of the, if we're on the trailing shoulder, I'm kind of looking at price movement on this side over here, and I'm trying to kind of figure out, like, maybe we have the same kind of movement that we had identical over here, So if that's the case, then maybe I can figure out like where closing price is going to be today to have the completion of that trailing shoulder. This has us at 499, roughly. And we would probably stay at 499 for, or we'll be at around that price point for about kind of like that long. Maybe not a breakout going up here until perhaps maybe going into Wednesday. So I'm gonna go with a 499 close for the day. I know it's only a penny higher than where we were on Thursday, but that's what I'm going for. 499, which means I'm gonna go 449 to 549. Let's see what the other guys are putting in here. We got Nana coming in with a 452 to 552 close. Close, same as mine. She's going for a 502 close. Tech is coming in at 515, so he's going 465 to 565. And last but not least, Apex 454 to 554. 454 to 554. Let me copy these all down. Throw them into my nifty little Excel spreadsheet. Let's see, 452, 504, and 515. So Tech has a unique price prediction. He's the only one that's would be eligible for an additional bonus point if he's within 10 cents of his price prediction. Yeah, 10 cents of his price prediction. It's got to be a little bit higher than that, than the difference between him and Apex. Like, it can't be closer to Apex and have him get it, even though he has a unique price prediction. Like, 505 isn't going to cut it. It's not going to get him the point because that's only 1 penny higher than Apex. So he's got to at least he's got to get it more closer to his price prediction than Apex is. But he would get it an extra bonus point. If that were the case. There is a, what do we have here? 16-cent spread between us for this morning. And yeah. Cool. Let me get rid of a drawing I had on the page here for later. And let's do this. I will oh, it's a little early here. Hold on a second here. We can't start this. We can't start the morning off too early. Hold on. Apex says, I like Tech's enthusiasm. Me too. I don't think I have anything else for you guys. What are the pre-markets looking like this morning? What do we have here? VIX futures showing 1994, down 2.56. Where are we at? I guess I gotta pull it up on here. Give me 1 second. Looking like the futures are going to open around 2036, so a little bit higher than where the futures are suggesting. Not too much. All right. I am ready to get this day started. I will see you guys on the other side of market open.
When the night's getting cold, you're needing a shoulder. Puff out your chest and be a little bolder. All we do is we buy and hold. There will be shills who wanna steal your thrills. There will be friends who hold till the end. There will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedges are dead. Panic and fear really are near, but it's not ours to own. We have shown that all we do is buy and hold. Oh, there will be shills who wanna steal your thrills, and there will be friends who hold till the end, and there will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedges are dead. So when the night's getting colder, you're needing that shoulder. These apes got your back. We got each other. All we do is we buy and hold.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery.
Go for launch, GT. Go. Got it. Go. Fido. Go. Bravo. Go. GT. Go. Max. Go. Eagle. Go. Eco. Go. FAO. Go. Payloads. Go. Scan for the customer. Go. DPS. We're go. Eco. Go. Booster. Go. Surgeon. Go. PRS. Go. Okay. And let's see. We'll wait on GNC.
T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start.
SCO, I hear you loud and clear. 5 mics. Tell me. Have you loud and clear as well? Thanks, sir.
Okay, let's go for auto sequence start.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
Should have a good forward leg now at S10.
Okay, you sound good.
Discovery Houston, negative return.
Copy, a negative return.
Good morning, you filthy apes. Welcome to AMC with KC, where we buy, we hold, and we screw those hedges. Screw them! That's right. This is where we like to fling poo and eat crowns for breakfast. Rock strong. Good morning, guys. The title for the day today is we had our third quarterly poker tournament, our buy and hold poker tournament. Let me pull up. I don't I never prepare these things, and so I'm never ready to say it. Congrats to 1Timer for winning the third quarterly buy and hold and poker tournament. Not only did he win the entire tournament, but he was also first place at the end of all 3 rounds of elimination on the table he was playing on. That I think is I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that out of the 3 tournaments we've had so far, that is the only time that's ever happened. The tournament consisted of 21 players, and the final table in order of first place to 7th place, as the final table was 7 players, was 1Timer first. I was second. Nails was third. Real Rugged was fourth. Hodor was 5th. Mason Blue 2 was 6th. And Living in 3D was 7th. Table winners for round 1 were Nails, Real Rugged, 1Timer. Round 2 were Hodor and 1Timer. And obviously the grand champion 1Timer for the third and final round. Congrats to everyone who played. It was truly a battle of the minds. We had a great time. And we even learned of some new words that we can mix and match together along the way. So it was a good time. And maybe we can get Brian in the back of the big tramp later and figure out what some of those new words were. So, I'm telling you, it was funny. There was some funny stuff. I think Papa Max streamed it, but I don't know that he caught the really, really, really funny stuff. So did he get some Bob Ross cards? Not yet, but he will be. He will be. 1Timer, just wait. I'll be sending you a DM eventually, and we'll discuss some things. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys for the title for the day today. We have the 4 price predictions in for this morning. I'll just repeat them real quick here because why not? And then we'll talk about the subject matter, which I need to go sit in the back of the big tramp here. Let me head over to the back of the big tramp. We got a really good I feel like I've got a good presentation here for you guys. But let's just take a look real quick here at what we have for price predictions. I've got $4.99. Nana has $5.02. Apex has $5.04, and Tech has $5.15 for price predictions for the day today. So most of us are all of us are predicting an increase in price, even if it's just by 1 penny for the day today. And let's do this. Let's do some presentation. I'm going to try not to be as emotional as I was the first time on this. It's so hard for me, though. Like, I mean, some of the stuff when you realize, the emotional, when you understand, I don't know. If you ever lost somebody in your family before, you know how emotional that can be for somebody. At least it was for me. I know it was for my wife. I think it is for probably most everybody, right? Like, and so I guess when I see what it is that I'm seeing here, I go like I can feel DFE's emotion in this. I really can. And so let me try to present it as best I can without getting all emotional. But let's do this. I'm gonna take you guys over to the other screen here for just a second so that we can take a look at what's going on. I know you probably want to see the little rippy on here on AMC, but just realize we're still under closing price of Friday, so it's not that big of a deal that we miss out on this for just a little bit to cover this. So here's the deal. I posted this up on Twitter. I think it was Sunday-ish, and I've had these icons, and I'm pretty sure that I've showed it on the live stream before. I've had these icons listed on these dates for a long time. Nothing's new here for me. These were all here before. I had these for quite a while. And I was telling everybody these 35 icons are for the T plus 35 cycle. We'll call those cycle periods, right? It's the settlement period for institutions on delivery of shares. So what I want you to understand here is that you can link everything back to the Japan carry trade that occurred on the big blow up happened on August 5th. And the crazy part about this is when you see what was involved in order to get to this and how much of this was being predicted by DFV in advance before we ever even got there, and how what it is that he's done was part of the reason why that. And I know that everybody's going to tell you the carry trade happened for other reasons because the Bank of Japan raised their rates, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you that there was other reasons why. There was reasons why they raised their rates when they raised them, and all this has to do with what DFV has done. And when you understand that he knew that the impact would be so great from what he's done here on the marketplace that it would cause other markets to have problems, that's where you're going to start to go. At some point you're going to be like, wow, holy shit, he planned this out. He planned this out like you would not believe. When he says this is a masterpiece, he's not kidding. This is a full-on masterpiece here. So the Japan carry trade, remember, these icons are not something that I've just placed here just for this presentation. I've had these here for a long time, very, very long time. It just so happens that on this last cycle, so this is one cycle right here, and this is a secondary cycle right here. When you see that the second cycle ends exactly on the day where the carry trade unwinds, and you can work everything backwards, you start to see how things are developing and why he did what it is that he did, because he was trying to tell people that there was a message being sent here. And I don't really think this message was specifically for us. I really don't think this message was sent for us. This message was sent for somebody else to know that he had him screwed, right? Like this is all stemming from well before. Do note on this page here, on this blue line is Chewy. Chewy's, I got it up in blue here because it's the Kansas City Shuffle. Remember the Kansas City Shuffle was everything was revolved around the blue chairs and the scene. Everything was blue on that, right? The background on the dog picture was blue. So I've got it up in blue on the page here. So let's go back a little bit further than the Japan carry trade and figure out, like, why did the Japan carry trade happen in the first place? So here is DFV's YOLOs. Now, I know you can't see the picture on the screen here. I can probably make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. But DFV's YOLO updates, right? We're telling us that between June 10th and June 13th, the position changed. So on June 13th, he exercised a position, and he went from 5 million shares of GME holding in quantity to 9,001,000 shares. So he finished his position by June 13th. So that tells you June 13th is this day right here. Settlement cycles at this point in time, after, what was it? The date was May. After May 28th, settlement cycles were T+1, which means you always start your cycle on the next day. So that's why this 35 trading day cycle started, is because he exercised a position with GME and created a position that was going to force somebody to have to deliver him 4,001,000 shares. Okay, let's go back a little bit further. We're gonna go step forward just a tad bit here. What happened on this particular day in here? We've got DFV filed a 13G 5% ownership of Chewy. Remember, it's a T+1. If he filed it on July 1st, but he says right here in the document itself that the position of 5% ownership was on June 24th. So we know that at this point on June 24th he had his position. So here's June 24th. T+1 from June 24th is the target date. The target date is a very special day to DFV. His sister, Caroline, she passed away. She passed away several years ago. I think it was like, I don't know, I think I heard somebody say 2015, but she passed away on this day. It is a very special day for him. And here's what's even crazier. When you take the cycle period, and some of these icons in here, we couldn't figure out all of these. Some of these we went through, like this one where you got two guys that are hugging each other here. It's two blue figures hugging each other. This was the first trading day after Father's Day. The Purple Heart was the anniversary of the Army creation of the Army, and they award Purple Hearts on that day. The Apple was Apple had their they had some kind of convention thing that they had scheduled for that day. The game controller was GameStop's supposed to be, at this time when he released these 35 emojis, GameStop was supposed to have their earnings report on June 5th, but it was just a few days before they actually rescheduled it for like a couple days after. So he had the right date down in his emojis until they rescheduled it. There were other things in here like the peanut over here on May 20th. May 20th is National Peanut Butter Cookie Day, and he had peanuts on that day. And we could figure out what some of these were, but other ones we couldn't figure out. We were going like, what are some of these other emojis? What do they stand for? I don't get it, And so, but look at this. The target, when he made his position, when you create the secondary cycle, or the third, it's actually the third cycle. You'll find out here in a second. It's actually the third cycle. When he created the third cycle, the target date, he's puking. He's got a sick face in there. The fact that this target date aligns with his sister passing away, aligns with him being sick. And so when you start to see how these line up here, some of these different icons are going to start making some sense to you. And you'll be like, oh my gosh. Because there's let's see, there's going to be one other thing I was going to show you. Where was it? Well, I'll skip on that. Anyways, so we got to go back a little bit further. Why is this his target day? Why does he have a target date for that specific day? And what does it mean specifically to him? Well, we already know that he did the Kansas City Shuffle, right? The Kansas City Shuffle was his target date. He was trying to get somebody to look left when he did something on the right. What else do we know about the Kansas City Shuffle? The Kansas City Shuffle requires you to have a dead body at the end. A dead body that you're not going to be a part of anymore, or something that you've killed off, right? For a reason. You used it for a reason to get to a source. So what do we have going on here? So if we go back a little bit further, we're going to go back to why he created this whole first cycle and why he was trying to show what was going on here. DFE started his second cycle on this date. So he posted a post. His very first tweet was on May 12th, where he had a leaning forward picture, was May 12th. The very next day, he entered into his position, and his second cycle began. Now, this is May 13th. Remember, I told you it was T+1 after May 28th? Well, this is May 13th, which means it was T+2, which means you start your cycle, your 35-day cycle, 2 days later, not 1 day later. So that's why you start the emojis, and the day that he posted up the emojis was on May 15th. So if you start the emojis on May 15th and finish them to the end, then you get the proper order for what you're supposed to have for what a T35 cycle day looks for. And he gives you clues. He gives you clues as to why that's the case. Now, DFE's second cycle started with starting of 12 tweets. He had 12 tweets on this day here, on the 13th, and it was the start of all of his videos. Now, if you count out 12 days from there, you get to this little emoji over here, and it's the disguise. It's the disguised face over here. I would contend, and I can't prove this part here, but I would contend to you that DFE, if you look at the price movement of Chewy that was happening, that he actually first started probably entering into this position on the day where you get the punch. And I'll show you why that's important, really, in just a minute here, when I show you that the Japan carry trade was something that he was by design all from the get-go. But remember this punch day, right? Punching leads to death, leads to a disguised position, and you have to look. Remember, because the next day he posted 12 more tweets on the 14th. Well, 12 days after that is going to be the look. Look at the disguise. What is the disguise? The disguise is your position for the Kansas City Shuffle for the target. What's the target? The next day he says 34 tweets. 34 tweets on May 15th is how many he posted that day. How many days are left in the cycle from this day going forward? If this is day number 1, there's 34 days left in the cycle. The next day he posts 26 tweets, 26 days to the target. From this point right here, going forward, he was telling you, the very first day here on May 15th, he's saying you have 34 days left for the cycle. The next day he's pointing towards the target and saying there's 26 days left to the target. And the next day he has 25 tweets and he's saying 25 days. He's giving you a countdown telling you what's about to come. Why is the target so important? The target is so important because that's the Kansas City Shuffle. What was the Kansas City Shuffle going to do? The Kansas City Shuffle was going to remove liquidity from the market and make it really difficult for anybody to make any kind of positions that you know, if they did anything wrong whatsoever, and there's so low liquidity in the marketplace, it's going to cause things to unwind if something snaps and breaks. And so that's where this comes in. He had his video. If you remember, when we were sitting there waiting to watch his video, this image popped up on there. And in this thing, he said, I'll wager with you, I'll make you a bet. And he was telling you the Japan carry trade was coming. There's one image on here that you should see. Has anybody ever played this game before? Where you have to hold the OK sign underneath your waist, and if you do, you get to punch somebody if they look. The Kansas City Shuffle makes you look. He made you look. Why is that important? He has an OK symbol right here. That OK symbol is right there. He made you look, so he gets to punch you. The punch leading to the death from the disguise of the target. The target was Chewy. The target date was Chewy. He forced him to look one way. He punched him, and it's the death blow. Setting up your third cycle, which ends on the unwinding of the carry trade. I'll wager with you, I'll make you a bet. He knew there was a hedge fund who was living off the Japan carry trade, and if that unwinded, he also knew that they were going to be in trouble and that everything would have to unfold. He knew it. He knew it in advance. It was not a mystery to him. He knew what was going to happen when he set things in motion. All of this was by design. It was not... If you look at this right here, this third position that he had, right, like that he exercised on the day that he exercised it on was the 13th. Why did he exercise it on the 13th if it was open and he could have made money over here where the rocket ship was? Why did he do that? Why in the world would he exercise a position when it's down here when he could have exercised it for a shit ton more money? If he didn't exercise it right here, he doesn't hit his target. This day it had to be that day. There was no way around it. He had to make sure that that day was the day because that starts your next cycle. It was by design. Every single bit of this. And it all stems around the Japan carry trade. Caroline is his wife. Did I get his sister's name wrong? Hold on a second here. Let me look this up. If I got his sister's name wrong, I've foobarred. I know I got the date right for when she passed away, but if I got her name wrong... I feel really bad if I got that wrong. Oh, you're right. And I actually, I covered this earlier, and it was Sarah. And I don't know why I put in Caroline. It was Sarah. Thank you for correcting me on that. I feel so bad. I actually had figured that out before, and for some reason I went back and had looked something else up somewhere, and somehow I got Caroline. So I appreciate you mentioning that. Because that is a massive error on my part. Sarah, thank you. So now, I want you guys to take this. You can't dispute this. You cannot dispute the things that are happening on this page here, right? Like these things are undisputable. You can't You can't line this up any other way and sit here and tell me that this isn't the way that wasn't a design or a planned thing that happened. So now when you go out there into the general public and you listen to what it is that other people are saying and they try to tell you that these icons are related to weeks or that they're related to events that are occurring, maybe they could say events, but they have to be in sequential order. He gave these things to you in an order for a reason. And when you see that the reason those things line up the way that they line up, you've got his target date, the day that his sister passed away, Sarah, on the same freaking day that he shows a sick. Like if you line these cycles up perfectly, you get him being sick on the fact that his target date is his sister's day that she passed, the memorial day of his sister. If you can't see it, then I don't know what to tell you. This was a masterpiece. He set it up in advance. It was his grand. If you wanted to dedicate something to somebody that you wanted to memorialize, why wouldn't you put them into a masterpiece like this? I mean, that's what you would do. You'd be like, of course I'm putting them in there. It's a masterpiece. So just know that when you see all these other people who are saying that DFE is just a pump and dumper, when you see people who are saying, things that don't make sense and don't line up as well as this lines up, know that they don't know what they're talking about. Just know it. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to correct them. Just know it. Some people probably want to ask questions to me now like, what does this mean? What does this mean for us? It doesn't change anything. It changes nothing. And he didn't tell us to do anything. In fact, he told us not to do anything based on this information. He told us to not follow him. He told us that he would do it himself, right? It was going to be something that he had to accomplish by himself. That does not mean that he's telling you to go make a position because he's doing it. He's doing this for a reason. All right. I got in the back of the Big Tramp Preacher. I got UPS delivery guy, and I got Rex. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Sorry for getting emotional.
How dare you?
I know. It's just whenever I talk about somebody when I know they're family member, and I feel horrible that I got his sister's name incorrect on there. So I appreciate you correcting me on that. Mac Nedby says no emotions. That's right. Numbers. Numbers only.
Casey, could I ask you a couple of questions that maybe you could answer later?
I can answer now. I mean, we got like a couple minutes before numbers.
All right. Why do you think it shows Chewy?
Why do I think it shows Chewy?
Why did he choose?
Well, okay, now, all right, that's real. Okay, that's a great question. Let's go back to the chart here for just a second. There are people who are suggesting that he had a choice and that it was going to come down to two different possible plays. And that's the reason why they were grayed out. I don't know if that's the truth or not. I can't tell you. I can see what it is that they're saying. But I don't necessarily know if I fully buy into it or not, but I mean, it's possible. But this other stock right here, I don't even know if I really want to name what it is because I feel like there's people out there who are pushing that people should go do something with this other stock, because that's going to be another play that DFV is going to utilize later. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I think that if I were to buy into the whole why specifically Chewy, I know Chewy, there were specific things that were happening with Chewy at the time where they said that they were going to be doing share buybacks. But what you need to know is that an announcement for the share buybacks actually happened after he had already set things in motion. Now, Chewy, part of the reason maybe why Chewy is because that's also a Ryan Cohen stock, right? So that kind of makes sense to me why specifically Chewy, because if there's somebody out there who's shorting and going against Ryan Cohen that he can be successful, then they probably want to destroy him in everything that it is that he's working on. So that makes sense to me. But the other stock, I don't know what the relationships are. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, and if it does pan out that maybe he had a choice between two different stocks and he was trying to decide which one it was going to be, I don't know. Or maybe he did make a position in the other stock and I just don't even know it. But regardless, one way or the other, I can certainly make a case for Chewy, and he hasn't talked about the other stock specifically yet. And until he does, I'm not willing to jump on that bandwagon. Yep.
Another question I had was, do you think a fourth cycle may be starting because
Yes.
of Friday?
Absolutely. There's always cycles being started. Anytime there's an open or closed position, it starts a cycle. One of the most important cycles out of this entire thing that you need to kind of have as a consideration in the back of your mind is the fact that he just he closed out Chewy positions. At least he's claiming he has in his meme, or alluding to it. One of the most important things about that is that he created that position and filed for it back, what we said, on the 26th, right? And if I'm correct on him, this being the sucker punch because I made you look. If this is when he entered his position over back here on May 28th, and we zoom out on this just a tad bit here and we look at where Chewy's at, if this is where he started his position, he exited it in the money, right? When he decided to exit out of his position, he was in the money on this big time. So here's the problem, right? Like if he made this position with Chewy and somebody created a swap in order to say that he had the shares that he had, right? If they made it available for him, and then this Japan carry trade unwind happened, then guess what ends up happening when he sells his position? They have to undo that swap. Somebody's going to get stuck for money. His broker's going to get stuck for the money that they're upside down on his position that he created, number one. And number two, they're going to get stuck for all those shares in that swap that they have to undo. And that creates a timer because somebody's now waiting for those shares. So absolutely, go look at the date that he exited his position on that and add a T35 counter to that and say, okay, this is going to cause a problem in the future. I don't have that on my page written in here. You got to do that work on your own. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to show you guys where you can try and absolutely utilize, because I think one of the biggest mistakes that everybody's doing is they're trying to figure out what they can do so that they can try and profit off of this. And that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sit here and show you what you can do to profit off of this, because I think that's the wrong. He's literally sat there and told us, like, this is my thing to do. That's not. I'm going to do it on my own. This is it. This is his project. So, but if you want to talk about T35 cycles, yeah, every single time that somebody's going to have to deliver shares because of a major event that just occurred is, that's going to add a T35 cycle stress, level of stress on the marketplace for sure. But Donkey Kong says he dropped the toy into a basket. Yep, you got it. And guess what's in that basket? Ace of Spades. The death card. But I'm not I'm not here to give you information to try and help you make a position someplace. It's always been the same thing around here. It's never been any different, and I'm not going to change my tune.
Yeah, I only have 4 shares of GME. I'm just in it for the excitement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I had one other question.
Yep.
When DFE did his live stream and he was showing everything on E-Trade, does that confirm that he is not a DRSer?
Yeah, he's not. He has not DRS'd any of his shares.
All right, so
Yeah, that whole DRS crap, everybody can debunk that from a long time ago. That was never something he stated. He's never even referenced it before. Like the idea that DRSing your shares is something that he. I mean, look at what he's done. He's been very very liquid with his positions, and anything that he is holding, he's not DRSing. So that's DRS was never started by DFE. And if you go back and you look at I think he would probably, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to say he would agree with me, but I'll say this. You can't have a short squeeze if you don't have borrowing of shares. That's what a short position is. It's a borrowing of shares. If you lock all the shares up, nobody can borrow them. If nobody can borrow them, you can't have a short squeeze, because that's what a short squeeze is. So why hasn't DFE ever locked up his shares before? Because he knows what causes a short squeeze. Lending of shares. They have to be lendable. I don't think I've ever seen... There was actually... No, I take that back. There was one reference to DRS in one of his videos. And a car goes and parks in a basement of a garage as it's trying to get away from the police. I think it like reverses into a parking space or something like that, and the garage I think may have had like a DRS symbol on the garage or something. I don't remember. Yeah, Donkey Kong, I saw that, like 98% on Webull or something like that for AMC ownership by retail. I did see that. Just while I was on break earlier. JR's place says, ha ha ha, explain the VIX. Well, let me do numbers, and when I go through numbers, I will talk about the VIX. I've actually done quite a bit of analysis on it, and even predicted that we would see within the 30 days that we saw volatility rising again happening, right? Like I told you guys when it first went down on August 5th, when you have 30 days later, you're going to have... I mean, DFV even knew this. He knew this, and that's why he made his position when he made it. I mean, look, it all lines up, guys. Every single bit of this lines up. He exited his position on Chewy right at the same time. 30 days later, when he knew that the VIX was going, they had 30 days. They had 30 days before volatility was going to start spiking again. He knew it. He knew it before it happened. Why? Because he made it happen. Let me take you guys over to the other screen. I'm not going to be able to hold... I mean, it explains...
Good morning, Casey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Before you start, good morning.
Oh, yeah. JR Junior's place says, I mean, it explains the VIX spike more with the carry trade. I agree with what you just told us. It lines up perfectly with the VIX spike and what is to come. It's because and it's because he knew. He designed this. This whole thing was by design. Every single last bit and piece. And the crazy part is we're all sitting here looking at this, and we're all going like, oh, the reason that the carry trade happened was because the Bank of Japan raised their interest rates by 0.25%. We're all sitting there going like, oh yeah, man, Bank of Japan must be in trouble. This must be the reason why, right? But no, it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Bank of Japan raised their rates because they had problems. They had problems because of lack of liquidity in the marketplace, and the lack of liquidity in the marketplace was because of the fact that DFE was screwing everybody over. That's why. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and nobody's gonna want to believe this. Nobody is gonna want to believe the fact that he was setting this up. He was setting this up from the beginning. But if you go back and you look at the clues, you can't dispute it. There's no way you can look at that and not dispute the fact that he set this up by design. And he even made a bet. He even made a bet and said, I'll wager with you, I'll make you a bet. He would have taken money from everybody that made this bet against him. Everybody. He knew.